What the? 460? What? What the? What? 2.7 million damage. What the fuck? 2.7 million damage. Headshot. 3.3 million. 3 million damage. Headshot. What? What's up, you guys? Gong Rong Zong here. I am super excited today. The Nemesis rifle has just dropped. There are numerous guides on how to get the gun, so you guys can check them out there. I don't want to bloat this video with it, but I have been trying it out and holy sh... The one-shot headshot build is back, guys. It's back. I'm super excited. It's back. The one-shot headshot build that I did was kind of obliterated. Well, not really obliterated. It was kind of nerfed because of the corresponding nerf to the Model 700. And without the very hard-hitting bolt action sniper rifle of the Model 700, that build kind of faded away into obscurity. And I wasn't really using it anymore. And I was using the Tok rifle instead. As you can see here, I still have my SVD, which I love very much. But the Nemesis... Okay, I'm gonna do a quick rundown of the weapon. I think a lot of you guys have already read about what the weapon does. This is with all my buffs. This 462.1k, a ridiculous amount of damage. If I go to my normal weapon that I use over here, my hunting M44. My hunting M44 only does 154.6k damage per bullet. The Nemesis, 462. I can't even believe it. I got a pretty high roll on this Nemesis. I had to re-roll it about 3 or 4 times. I don't want to re-roll it anymore. I don't have any exotic components left to re-roll the weapon. But I got it pretty high. At base, this does about 314k damage without all my weapon buffs. But with my weapon buffs, 462. So this is freaking insane. Okay, I think I'm freaking out enough about this. You guys want to see the gun in action? Really quickly, these are the talents. This is the main talent. Shots fired deal 0 to 100% weapon damage based on how long the trigger is held before releasing. So basically, there's a charge up time to this weapon. If you look over here, I'm scoping in. I'm going to charge it up for... It charges up for around 3 seconds. I think it's about 2.5. 1, 2, or about 3. And then you release the shot. It will automatically release if you wait too long. 3.6 million headshot. What is going on? Okay. But yes, it charges up for about 3 seconds, and I want to show this to you guys where for every 1 second it charges up, it adds about 1 million damage. Charge up for 1 second, I'm going to shoot about 1.6 million damage. I'm going to charge up 1, 2, about 2 million damage. And for the 3 second one, as you guys saw just now, 1, 2, 3, fire off a shot, about 2.7. It can go all the way up to 3, as you guys saw just now on a crit. So if I just fire it point blank, if I just fire it off the hip with no charge up time, it actually does very, very little damage. Around 100k if I remember. If I'm just going to fire it off like this, there, around 90,000, around 100k. So in essence, it's useless to snipe in with this rifle and fire a shot point blank like this because it barely does any damage at all. You have to at least charge it up for 1 second for it to do about 1 million damage. So for every 1 second, for me at least, it adds about 1 million damage. I've soloed some control points force with this, and it's turned out pretty well. I'll go through the pros and cons of the weapon later, but that's the first talent. The second talent is, of course, this thing that marks your targets. In my experience, this isn't working very well. I'll probably throw on some control point 4 footage at this point where you can see me killing enemies. The enemies aren't really marked even though I'm aiming at them. I'm not very sure if this is a bug. It does not work in the training room, but for those enemies that it does mark, it adds an insane amount of damage. 5% damage to your Nemesis for each second they are marked to a max of 50%. 50% more damage on a 462k sniper rifle. That's what, 600 to 700k a shot? That's just insane. Again, I'm not very sure if this talent is working properly. I have to wait for more people to chime in for it. And there's a third talent. While holstered, gain 25% headshot damage when scoped with your current weapon. So this is the holstered weapon. So what it does is that for any scope, It doesn't matter if it's the small scope like this, the AGOC this scope, the 4x scope. It doesn't matter if it's the C79 scope, 3x4. As long as you're scoping into something, it can be this scope, it can be the ACOG, the 4x scope, it can be the 8x scope, whatever it is. I'm choosing to use this one because it's the most practical and it's the way I use my MK17. As long as you are scoping in, which this scope is actually really good for, I'll recommend using it on your rifle as a secondary weapon when you have Nemesis holstered. As long as this scope is as long as you use something that's scoped in, it will trigger the plus 25% headshot damage. So I want to talk about my build a little bit here. I'm using the same build for those of you guys that have been following me all the way, the same glass cannon build, which I love. And I love the bolt action sniper rifle style for those of you guys that have been following me. This is just a dream come true. I hope exotics follow this path. There are some issues that I encountered, which I'll go through later. But as of now, I just want to show you my build. How am I able to achieve such a big headshot? 6 hard hitting talents, right? This is what I always run with. You guys know I always run with this. 131% damage to elites, stacked on top of now, instead of going with a 3-piece Overlord, I've gone with 3-piece AIRALDI, giving me 10% more marksman rifle damage, and as much weapon damage and marksman rifle damage as possible. I was not able to hit 12% here, only 10%. So in total, sorry, I know I did not show stats last time. I'm going to show them now. Some of you commented that you want to see the stats. Here are stats. Plus 25% all weapon damage bonus, plus 22% marksman rifle damage bonus, and 131% damage to elites. This still does not gimp my rifle playstyle. I still have a 30% rifle damage bonus, and I still have a pretty high critical hit chance and critical hit damage for my rifle. So it doesn't gimp my rifle. So in the same way I've always done my builds, whether it's the one-shot headshot sniper, whether it's the talk sniper rifle, which I still love very much, I'm always running a rifle with an MK17. You could switch it out for an MDR depending on how high an MDR you roll, but I got a really high roll MK17 here. Again, I don't really know what I'm glossing over at this stage. I think a lot of you guys have seen most of my guides at this point, and a lot of you are familiar with the end game at this point, so I don't want to bloat the video too much, but please let me know in the comments below if there's any questions or I missed out on anything important. So basically, what are the pros of this sniper rifle, this new exotic sniper rifle? The basic pro. It does a shit ton of damage. It does like a gazillion, bajillion, okay, it does 3 million damage, but to me it feels like a gazillion, bajillion damage to the head. But, and here's the biggest drawback of this sniper rifle. I did not actually find that it was very practical for solo play. Granted, in this short time span since the patch hit, I've only done 3 level 4 control points. But I would treat that as pretty high-end content for a solo player, especially when enemies are rushing you from all angles still. I have not done Heroic, Stronghold, which would be the next step, but at least for level 4 control points, for the highest end content that you can find in the open world, I actually did not find it to be very practical. I did manage to do it, but as a solo player, when all the enemies are just barraging down on you and the enemies firing you from all angles, it is honestly very hard to hold down onto a scope for anything from 1 to 2 seconds even, because with the normal bolt action marksman rifle that we used to have, whether it's the hunting M44 that you're using now, or the Model 700 that you're using in the patch previously, or maybe you're still even using it now, it's an instant scope, right? The minute you come out of cover, instantly scope, boom, headshot. You're able to do instant headshots with this. With this weapon, you're not able to. It didn't affect me that much, but I found certain situations where it did affect me, where I wish I could just come out of cover, quickly take a headshot at a yellow mob, and down it. But what this weapon is excellent for is making sure that when that yellow mob comes out of cover, and if you just have that tiny fraction of 1 to 2 seconds to charge up your shot, that elite mob is dead. And this is excellent because this also applies to red mobs and purple mobs. I was dispatching red and purple mobs just as easily, even though I'm stacking everything into elite damage with this new Nemesis Sniper Rifle, which I'm just in love with. Why? Because I was able to charge up my shots. As you can see with my build here, with a charged up shot, usually I was even able to hit a red mob for about anywhere in a body shot. In a body shot for anywhere to 600k kind of damage. And that will one-shot a red mob. Same for purple mobs. I was able to hit their head. If I was able to headshot them with a fully charged up shot, they would practically go down in one hit. And this is just amazing. This feeling was amazing because with this build that I stacked everything to damage to elites. The drawback was that I felt that purple mobs and red mobs were a little bit spongy. I couldn't down them in one shot, or at least 1 to 2 shots, with my hunting M44 or my Model 700. Now, with the Nemesis Sniper Rifle, with an obscene amount of damage, I'm able to trade shots with reds and purples. Reds and purples no longer do that much damage any longer with all the nerfs, and so I'm able to pop out of cover, maintain my scope on a red or purple for 2 seconds, 3 seconds maybe, and then fire off a shot and kill it instantly. This just felt amazing. Thank you, Massive, for doing this. I am in love with this exotic sniper rifle. In fact, I am so in love with it that I'm afraid that it's gonna get nerfed. I'm very afraid that it's gonna get nerfed, even though I want to say this at this point and it segues to my next segment, even though I may sound extremely biased towards this sniper rifle, I mean it fits in perfectly into my playstyle, I don't think it's overpowered. And a lot of it has to do with the reason that I just stated. It's not very practical in solo play. It's going to be a beast in group play. It's going to be a beast in group play where you have your friends that can soak damage for you or can draw fire away from enemies for you. But in solo play, I honestly felt that with my Tok sniper rifle build, it was still a lot better, a lot more efficient, and I could deal with rushes head on very well. If you get a very good position, if your positioning is excellent up on a high ramp or on a corridor with this sniper rifle when taking out level 4 control points, it will be amazing. But if not, if you're going to get rushed, if enemies are going to come from all angles, if you're going to get grenaded like crazy, it's not actually the best rifle for you to use, no matter how much damage it does. Also, I got the kind of feeling that it was a little bit clunky. And that's the whole point, right? They inbuilt this 3-second charge up time for it to feel clunky with a trade-off into the damage. I felt that it was a little bit clunky, but it still fell so perfectly into the playstyle that I love. And for those of you guys out there that love bolt action sniper rifles or your AWP rifle in traditional Counter-Strike, this fell so perfectly into it that it was something that I'm more than willing to take up the challenge for in managing this awkward 3-second charge up time just to get a huge shot off. I don't actually think that this sniper rifle will be that popular. I don't think so. I only think the reason why it's going to be popular within the next few days or maybe even a couple of weeks is because of this. It's the first exotic to be released that's actually been buffed, like how they said they want to buff the rest of the exotics. Once the other exotics get released and once the other exotics get buffed up, we haven't even seen all the other exotics yet, I don't think this sniper rifle is going to be that popular. So even though you're going to see threads on Reddit right now, oh my god, the damage is so big, this is insane, I don't think we need to pay much heed to those, and I will implore the devs to not pay too much heed to those because it still requires a large amount of skill to be able to pull off these headshots properly, and it's a pretty unpopular playstyle, I have to say. Most people would still want to do the run and gun with their assault rifle, or at least a faster, more fluid, dynamic sort of playstyle. So all in all, a weapon that I very, very, very much love. I am so happy to be able to do the update to the one-shot headshot glass cannon build. This is the bolt action sniper rifle, and thank you, Massive. This is the bolt action sniper rifle for us quintessential snipers that want to sit at the back, take our time with calculated and measured shots, but take out the highest priority targets that need to be taken out. This does lead into a secondary problem though. And that is this. This exotic currently overshadows all the other bolt action sniper rifles. I think Massive actually are well aware that this is going to happen when they released this weapon just 24 hours ago. And what I'm worried about is their whole theory of alignment that Terry went through in the previous state of the game that just happened a day ago, about we need to align certain weapons and rein them in, and that exotics were meant to give you a different type of diversity of playstyle, and they were not meant to overshadow normal weapons. Currently, for me at least, because I am the quintessential sniper kind of playstyle and I love this playstyle, this is the no-brainer for me. This is the weapon you want to go for. But again, like I said, it does feel a little bit clunky. And I think bolt action sniper rifles actually do have their place depending on what kind of playstyle the player is going for. So all in all, a fantastic weapon to use. I will link some guides below of how to obtain this sniper rifle, but I'm sure you guys know the popular YouTubers already. They'll probably have guides on this. Vids, Amtash, Macro Style. You guys can check out how to get the exotic sniper rifle parts there. And I wish you all the luck in rolling the biggest damage roll of the Nemesis that you can. I am having so much fun with it. Thank you massive for this. If you have any questions at all about the build, please feel free to leave comments below. Again, I don't want to bloat this video because I've already explained it all in depth about my talent choices and my gear choices in a previous video. So thanks so much for supporting that video too. I really appreciate it. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in DC.